Welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a quick look at the sale. I want to very quickly gloss over everything, and I made a very in-depth one about 2 months ago and literally nothing has changed. But I want to just kind of put a notification out there that the video still is up to date. And I want to very quickly gloss over all the planes today, basically to just kind of give you a quick rundown of all the good premiums. I'm not going to be looking at talismans. If you want that, I have a video in the description as well as on the top of the comment section. Before we get started, if you want to buy anything, I highly advise you to use a content creator link. If you want to use mine, it's in the description. You get 3% off your Golden Eagle purchase. I get a small cut and you get this decal for free. You just get it if you buy anything through the link. You don't have to buy it separately. You just get it with what you already were going to get. And if you don't want to use mine, if you already have my decal, at least support someone, take some of their money, give you a bit more money, and you also give a bit to one of your favorite content creators. Before we get started, I want to take a look very quickly at all the Silver Lion grinders. There are a few, but I want to just kind of put them together so you know what to get. We have the XP50, which is airspan, good flight performance, good guns, low ammo. That's really the only issue with this thing. And then over here we have the LF Mark 9, good flight performance, not the best guns, and the matchmaker is kind of rough. 6.0 is going to be your mainstay, and America 6.0 means that you are going to be sucked into Junker 288 territory essentially every game. Then we have the A2D, which I'm not completely sure if it's GE. I'm terribly sorry if it isn't, but it's an absolute S tier grinder. It's however very brain dead and kind of mundane to fly, but it's super consistent, decent good flight performance, and absolute metric load of ordnance. Now over here you basically have nothing anymore. You have some pack vehicles. If they go on sale next week, I hope they do. A10 is okay for grinding, not the best plane. F5C is good for grinding and very good. And the FRS is good for grinding, however not the best flight performance. And at 11.3, let me tell you, you're going to be seeing this thing over here essentially every game. Germany doesn't have much in terms of SL grinders. The Yak 1B is okay, but not the best flight or not the best multiplier. The Junker 288 has a good multiplier, is super consistent. However, it's a bomber, people. It's going to be 6v6. You're going to be rushing for the bases. So you're probably going to get 1, maybe 2 bases per game. And you're going to be losing most of them. Now, if your mental can take that, feel free to do it. But yeah, it's a bomber. I don't really have to talk about that one. And over here, all of these planes are not really worth buying, at least not for Silver Lions. Then we have Russia, which is kind of easy. We have the P-63A5. The A5 is essentially a 4.0 plane, the P-63C5 with the same multipliers. However, it's at 3.3. So you are going to have a very easy time fighting people at 3.3, 2.3 sometimes. Yes, sometimes you get up-tiered, but then you are basically at its intended BR. Decent flight performance. It's okay at being fast. It's okay at a dogfight until you reach like 350 to 300 kilometers an hour. And this thing just doesn't have any performance anymore. The low speed engine performance of the P-63s is shit. If you are used to the P-39s, they are not very comparable. I am afraid to warn you. But yeah, very good in terms of a low tier grinder. And then over here you have essentially nothing other than the VK107, one of the best props in the game. However, 6.0 matchmaker, but Russia tends to dodge it a little bit more often, so it's not gonna be as mundane and brain rotty as something like the Spitfire in the American tech tree would be. SU-11, no-brainer, good reward multipliers, insane performance. The guns are a bit iffy to aim, but if you get the guns down, this thing is insanely good. If you want to train your aim with a plane that's very good, where you're going to get infinite amount of shots, other than of course running out of ammo, this thing right here is for you. And all of these are not really worth it. At least not for the GE ones. And then over here we have the Mustang Mark 1A. Good guns, decent flight performance. Kind of in the same boat as the P-63. However, at low tier, if you have good guns and your plane is at least airworthy, you're going to get kills. And this thing is no exception. Other than that, for the SL grinders, I don't really recommend any of these. Japan has 3 of them actually. We have the FU-1A, the 109E7, as well as the A7M1. They're all very good at grinding. However, And this one has a relatively low multiplier compared to the E7. The E7, in my opinion, is going to be the most fun one. 3.0, insanely good flight performance. The guns are a bit hit or miss sometimes. Not a lot of ammo. Kind of far apart on the wings. Kind of annoying to aim. But the flight performance is very good. Whereas the FAU-1A is just fast, is durable, and the guns are very sprayable. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. If you are a good player, I would go with the E7. If you are a newer player and not as experienced, you're probably better off with something like the FAU-1A. Just keep in mind the climb rate isn't that great and your dogfighting performance is also a bit lacking. So you do need to play it a little bit tactically, or you're just gonna go spawn in, take off, and shoot at the first guy that you see. You're probably gonna kill him, he might damage you, and then you're gonna spray down the second guy. It's an extremely brain-dead plane, but I do recommend the E7 over it if you have even a little bit of experience in this game. The P-51C11 is one of the best planes in the game, for BR anyway. However, the multiplier isn't that high. A bit of a trade-off. You're probably going to do better in this thing. However, the rewards that you are going to get aren't going to be as good. A7, just kind of brain dead. You hold your pitch key, you outturn everyone, you have good guns. It's basically a 0 without its glaring weaknesses and is overall just a very good plane. The J2M5, which I want to very quickly mention. Great performance. However, the guns aren't very good, so I don't think it's a good SL grinder. Because if you need an SL grinder, you're probably struggling with SL, which probably means you either don't have premium, which is completely understandable. But if you don't have premium, I would buy premium first, other than buying anything else. And if you're still broke, you probably don't want to fly this thing out. It's very susceptible to having a skill issue. The guns are far apart, low rate of fire, not a lot of ammo. So if you are struggling with aiming and you need SL, you probably are going to be struggling with aiming. I don't recommend this thing. Then for China, I really can only recommend the Ki-84Ko. F-84G is okay in terms of just taking off, flying in, spraying people down. Multiplier is good. It's quick, it's consistent. However, not the best flight performance. Ki-84, 5.3. Sometimes you get sucked into the 288 spam. However, not all the time because you are in China and you're not going to be in that bracket nearly as often. Just overall very well balanced plane with decent to good guns. Italy, not really much to pick up here. We have the... nothing really. Maybe the VB Trop, but the multiplier is very, very low. Ariete is very good, and I'll talk about it more in the Italian section. Long story short, buy at your own discretion, because if you do get up-tiered, this thing is going to be turbo shit. Don't say I didn't warn you. It is insanely good until it isn't. Anything below 9.7, this thing is going to shit on everything that doesn't have high-powered missiles. And even if they do, you can mostly just turn into it and dodge it anyway. But the second you reach R60Ms and AIM-9Ls, you're going to take the L, basically. And there's really little you can do in this thing. France has nothing but the Yak 3. Ask Glitched how much that one cost. Then over here in the SL department, we have the G6. Very consistent, very good. But I would recommend the VL Puromurski as well. Because it's super cheap, it's unique. And it has very good performance. But if you want a pure grinder and you don't care about props and you just want to get through them as quickly and as cheap as possible, get the G6. And then over here we have nothing. Let's get right into the US tech tree. Tier 1 and 2 are basically to be skipped in every nation because, well, if you want an actual recommendation, there's really nothing to recommend at rank 1 and 2. It's most of the time a waste of money unless you really want a certain plane. But again, I've already made a video on that. Let's take a look. We have the XP55 again. Good plane. Not the best grinder, but I do recommend picking it up. Simply, it's a rank 3. You can do events with it. It's unique. And it has a very good armament. So, can't really go wrong with it. But it's not the best grinder, but it's definitely unique. XP50, one of the best premiums that you can buy for GE in the game. Airspawn, good flight performance, decent guns. However, the ammo isn't that fantastic. You need to be a little bit trigger disciplined. Other than that, this plane is pretty damn insane. And then over here, not really worth picking up anything other than the Spitfire LF Mark 9. It's good, but keep in mind, the 6.0 Matchmaker is a little bit of a grind fest. It's gonna make your brain rot. Not the best in that kind of regard, but it's a very good plane, especially as a fighter. Ground RB, not so much. Over here, you don't really have anything. You have this one right here. A to D is good, but I'm not sure if this is from the packs, or if it's from GE. If it's GE, I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry. If it's GE, absolute S tier grinder, very damn good. And over here you have essentially nothing again, because these are all pack vehicles and they are not worth it anyway when they are not. Then we have Germany, rank 1 and 2 are to be skipped yet again. Town 154, don't pick this thing up unless you want a head-on mobile with an air spawn. If you want to just kind of farm bombers, this thing is good. The flight performance lets it down severely. Other than that here, nothing really worth picking up. Yeah, I can probably pick up the Dornier 335, but again, 6.0 matchmaker, same deal as with the Junker 288. Junker 288, very consistent, it's gonna make your brain rot. It's, I don't recommend it really, but it's super consistent, even though it's kind of annoying to fly. This thing is an absolute farm mobile, but don't expect to win many games. Personally, I would wait for the D13 to go on sale. Hopefully it will next week. But that's a bit of a gamble. If you don't want to take the gamble and you really want to buy something now, probably best off with the 288 or probably the 335. If you really want just the best flight performance, you're going to be all the way down to the Yak 1B. So a little bit of a rough choice here. Not many things to pick from. These two are not worth buying. At least this one isn't, and this one isn't available. And then you reach like the higher tiers. Tornado IDS, absolutely not worth it. Not in a million years. SPS is not available. The Laser is okay. Not the best at 11.0. Gets the job done for grinding. Hopefully goes on sale next week. But as of right now, Germany for the GE sale, I would say bet on the D13 going on sale. Or maybe the Laser if you really want to pick something and you want to get to top tier. Then we get Russia. Again, rank 1 has essentially nothing. Rank 2, you can maybe get the I-153 if you really want to have some fun in it. It's cheap, it's not a good grinder, it's not a fantastic plane, but it's kind of dumb fun if you just want to hold your pitch key and slam people in and have a turn. In that regard, it's kind of funny, but everyone will just run from you, and it's, in my opinion, kind of annoying to play. Then we have rank 3, other than all these planes, only the P63A5 that I also recommended with the Silver Lions. Low BR, pretty decent flight performance for 3.3. However, the guns kind of let it down, so don't expect to slam many lobbies in it. You can do it if you are experienced. Why, you might ask? Because it's fucking 3.3 and even a troglodyte can play it. It's not super brain dead, but at 3.3 your enemies are going to make an awful lot of mistakes, and this thing is not bad to the point where even a level 2 will accidentally kill you. Then we have rank 4. My best recommendation here is going to be the Yak 3 VK107. The P6 is kind of a good grinder, but I don't recommend it to people for a very good reason. And then we have the P63C5, which essentially is an A5 with slightly more ammo. It's not worth the BR increase, even though the multiplier is exactly the same. You know why? Because they used the Boat B 4.0. D9 is good when it does go on sale, but it is not right now. SU-11, very good flight performance, kind of awkward to use gun. It's good and worth of picking up. It's definitely worth your money. But if you don't want any jets, you're best off with something like the VK107. If you already have the Yak 3, you just talisman this. But if you really want SL, VK107 is one of the best props in the game. Just be careful that the 6.0 matchmaker might again make your brain rot a little bit. MiG-21S, just gonna mention it real quick. Flight performance and everything is there. However, 9.7, all aspect missiles, you are on a MiG-21. You are gonna be eating shit. I do not recommend it. And these other planes, I will talk about these with the pack. MiG-23 ML is great, but I'm not sure if it will go on sale, since it didn't go on sale last pack sales either. I'm hoping they did it because they wanted to put them on sale now. Now we have the Su-27, now we have the F-15s and all those planes. However, I can't tell you for sure. We just have to hope and pray. Then we go to Britain. There's really not that much here that I really say is worth your money. We have the Mustang Mark 1A, decent flight performance, but it's mostly about the BR and the fact that you have 420mm that slaps everyone's dick out of the air, which is pretty damn good for 3.3, because all you really need at this BR is some good flight performance, but just good enough to kind of keep it in the air. And then all you really need is a set of good guns, and this thing definitely has those. And over here, Wyvern, if it goes on pack sale, absolutely incredible, but it's not on sale right now. The Spitfires I would personally skip for just because they're not that great at grinding, other than maybe the LF Mark 9. Hornet is decent, but it has a little bit of a learning curve to it. It's not very much pick up and play. Once you get it down to a T, it's very good, it's very easy, because it's just super fast, has an air spawn, but again, it's that pesky 6.0 matchmaker. If you have the Strike Master, it's a good plane, but in terms of a grinder, as you might have been aware of, it's not that fantastic simply because of the absolute shit-ass guns. Rank 5, Attacker FB2 is pretty good. Sea Vixen is okay, has good missiles, they got buffed a little bit ago. It's just super mundane to fly, and it's not going to activate your brain cells at all. It's kind of funny to shove a red top in the guy's ass when he's at a 7.7 plane. It's pretty funny, but other than that, meh. Mark 8 Reaper, also kind of good, but again at rank 5, I normally don't really recommend anything. The issue here is that all of these are also just completely shit. Lightning is shit, F4J, F4 Junk is shit. Then we have the FGA9, which is okay, but not available. The GL1, 9.7 now. However, it doesn't have flares, so you are going to be eating shit very, very often. Now, you might see the JAS 39C here. One, the flight performance just got nerfed for both of them. Secondly, as of right now, it's identical to the Swedish one, and the Swedish one is a lot of an easier grind and a lot less painful. The only difference right now is that this thing gets 20 more flares. So if you are only looking for the Gripen, go to Sweden. There's really no other way around it. Then we have Japan, FU1A, E7, both very good. Just kind of club planes, not really much to talk about. Same thing with the P51 C11. However, the C11 doesn't have the best multiplier. And the issue here is that they are just kind of a low rank. So I recommend them, but don't expect to get too much done with them. And then over here we have the A7M1, as well as nothing else. Yeah, you heard it right. The A5 is okay, but again, the flight performance got nerfed a while ago, and it's not as competitive as it used to be. And then we have the J2M4, which is absolute dog shit. Don't pick this thing up because you think it's a J2M5 with better guns, because the only thing that lets the J2M5 down are the guns. The guns aren't as fast anymore as they used to be. They still hit decently hard, but low ammo count, low rate of fire, and they are very much spread far apart, a little bit like you are cross-eyed, and you'll end up shooting around people very often. If you are not an experienced player or someone with very good trigger discipline, you're not going to have much success in this thing. It's a good plane, but I'm warning you, this thing is a little bit susceptible to having skill issue. That's the only real way I can talk about it. And then these other planes are really not worth picking up. The F40 is okay at 9.0. Keep in mind, if you get fully up-tiered, it's kind of like with the Ariete. You're just going to eat shit, and it's kind of painful to fly. T2 is not available anymore, and this is one of the worst premiums in the game. Unfortunately, it's one of the best premiums in the game in terms of like grind effort, because it lets you skip all of this shit-ass stuff down here until you reach the AJ and the F15J. This is shit, this is shit, this is shit, and this is the same thing. This is also shit, but at like a slightly higher BR, except it has better missiles. It's still gonna be shit. And then the F16AJ and the F15J are both very good, but you have to go through all of this. So if the ADTW goes on sale, it's a good grinder, but it's an absolutely shit plane. China, not much to talk about. We have the Ki-84, just a good balanced plane. 6.0 matchmaker is gonna give you brain rot yet again. But the flight performance is there, the guns are decent to good. Can't really go wrong with it. Then we have the F-84G. It's not as good in terms of flight performance. However, airspan, decent guns, very consistent grinder. But it's not going to be the best performing one, considering the LA200, for example, is the same BR as you. So you are going to run into some issues. But in terms of a consistent grinder, this thing is pretty good for flying it out. J7D is dog shit, A5C is okay, but it's not on sale right now. And the Shenyang is also a bit of a mixed bag, because you are again in that 9.3 area. And then for Italy, we have a few things. If you want a prop, I would say get the G55, that's not available anymore, unfortunately. The G2 is okay, it's not the best flight performance anymore, but it will allow you to basically grind all the way up until rank 6. Well, you can rank 5 or grind rank 5, and you won't be able to grind rank 6 with it, but everything from rank 5 and down, you will be able to research. However, with the Italian tech tree, I would personally just get the Ariete. Yes, your up tiers are gonna be absolute struggle bus, but if people don't have good missiles and they are not supersonic, they are dead to you. This thing is insane in the 1v1, it's insane in the dogfight. The guns are very high velocity, very easy to use, the multipliers are very high, and it kind of compensates for the fact that if you do get fully up tier to 10.3 or 10.0 against Su-25s, you basically make the profit back from when you do get your tier or perhaps even down tiered. It's a very good plane, but keep in mind, buy on your own discretion basically, because the up tiers are going to be really rough, and don't say I didn't warn you. I'm not trying to sell you stuff, I am trying to make sure that you are getting a decent grind all the way up to top tier. And for France, there's really not much to talk about in terms of the props. Only the Yak tree is worth it over here. SO8000 is trash. Don't pick it up. I hear people say it's still good to this day. By the time you reach 4000, the people that spawned on the ground have already overtaken you, to just give you a bit of an idea. It also doesn't turn very well. It basically does nothing except have very high speed performance. But you're never getting to high speed because this thing has a lawnmower engine. So if you want for the props, we have the Yak tree. And then there's only really the F1C200 left. Now what you can do with the new event that came out, we have the Mirage 2000 S4. It's probably going to be rank 7 or 8. You will be able to get yourself a talisman on, for example, the MD452C2 or the Barugan. And then you will be able to grind all of this. And then this one is going to be rough. But if this talisman Mirage drops in rank 7, you might be able to grind rank 6 with it. Now, if it drops in rank 8, this tier right here might be a little bit rough. I would personally get a talisman on the F84G. And then you will be able to grind all of this for a relatively cheap price. Because the F1C200 is a decent grinder, but it's not a very good plane. And it will make you tear your hair out, because all you really have is 2 Magic 2s, and all the 3 missiles and the guns are really not that it. Neither is the flight performance, but you know, that's kind of a given, considering this is not a top tier French plane, because only at top tier the French planes are not completely shit. And then we have Sweden. Really not much here either. We have the Puromursky, which I can't recommend enough. The G6, which I also can't recommend enough. I forgot it with the SL. I'm terribly sorry. I'll put it in on post commentary or like post editing. These 2 planes are great. G6 is better for grinding. However, I do think that the Puromursky is better for the money, because it's only like 800 GE and it's unique. The G6 you can already fly in, I think it's like 2 other nations. It's also for free. Oh, that's the one. You also have it for free here. It's a great grinder if you need one. However, the Puromursky is much more worth your money. It's cheaper, it's unique, and well, it's unique. That's really all I can say. And then over here, all these planes are kind of rough. Basically only the Saab 105 J35 XS, but as of right now, it's not on sale. It went on sale 2 months ago, so I cannot assure you that they will go on sale this time around yet again. Then we have Israel, and really there's not much to buy here other than the Kafir Canard. And it didn't go on sale last time, so I'm hoping it will go on sale this time around. Yeah, this is kind of rough. There's really not much in terms of premiums that I recommend here. But again, if you need an actual in-depth one for all the premium vehicles as well as all the talismans, I have a 1.5 hour video down in the description. Now, if you are buying anything, feel free to use a link. If you want to use mine and get my decal, it's in the description. Buy anything through the link, you get the decal for free. You get 3% off if you buy the GE. And that's it. Actually kind of kept it short this time around. Thank you all for watching. You'll see me in the next one.